So today's topics are data binding and conditional rendering in LWC. So first of all, we will start with data binding. What is data binding exactly? Data binding means binding the properties in LWC template, or you can say HTML, to the properties in JS class. So whenever we are working with any component, we need communication sort of thing. Communication in the sense, suppose we are writing any logic in JS file, we are doing some manipulations, we are pulling data from the object, so that all logic part we have to write in JS. But yes, after doing manipulations, after writing the logic, at the end we have to display that data, or we have to display that manipulations on the UI. So for that we need properties. So Java, you can say JavaScript is a loosely typed language. So there is no concept of data types in JavaScript. So when you are declaring a property is like a variable. So there is no need to specify any data type. So once you declare a property, that can hold any type of data. It can hold string type data. It can hold numeric type data. Any type of data your properties can hold. So whenever you need data binding, first of all, what is the need of data binding? Data binding, or you can say data binding, is needed for communication. Whenever you are doing any manipulation in JS file, so that data you have to showcase in HTML. So how you will, you can say how you will bring that data from JS file to HTML. For that we need JS properties. JS property leads to communication between JS and HTML. So and how to declare property? How to declare property? So we have what we can say, we have primitive type properties also. Primitive type properties means which will hold a single sort of data, single data type data. We can have array type properties also, collection type properties also. We can have object type properties also, like key value pair. So if I write, suppose if I want to hold only name, so I can declare a property and I can store my name. So this I am doing in JS file. This is my JS file. But now if you want to show this data on the UI, you have to do data binding. So this is my property name. So property name is case sensitive. You are working in JS scenarios. So case sensitivity, whenever you are binding this property on the UI, this is my UI. This is my root tag. I will show you practically also. So this is my UI. Whenever you want to see, whenever you want to bind this property on the UI, suppose I am binding it in div. So flower brackets, or you can say curly brackets, and name of the property. This is the way to bind. So it is case sensitive. If you give like if you change the cases, it will not bind. So JavaScript is case sensitive, so properties are also case sensitive. There is no need to specify data types. And I have told you that we have lots of properties. So whenever you are declaring properties in JS, they are by default private. Private properties means these properties are not exposed by default to other components. By default, these properties are private. If you want to declare them as a private property, a public property, for that we have to use @API decorator to make any property public property. So let me show you how to declare a property. So in JS file, if you see, I have declared a property with the name welcome name. Right now, this is a private property. That means any other component cannot access this property because this is a private property. And if you want that this property should be declared as a public property, or any other property, suppose location. So if you want this property to be declared as a public property, in that case, you have to use a decorator that is called decorator in LWC, that is API decorator. So whenever you want to use any decorator, you have to import that decorator in our JS file. This is the way to import any decorator, and you have to decorate your property with this decorator. So now this property is public property. This is private property. And this is public property. So public property means exposed to other component also. How to expose and all that you will see in later on sessions. But yes, this is public property. Now, before Spring 20 release, what was happening, that the properties were not reactive by default. Reactive in the sense that whenever I'm making any change in this property, those changes were not reflected on the UI. So for that, again, before Spring 20 release, we have to use a decorator track. But now after Spring 20 release, all the properties are by default trackable. That means whenever you are modifying any property value, that will be reflected on the UI without using @track. Otherwise, you have to use @track before Spring 20 release. But now these days track is not required. So what I'm trying to say, that whatever properties you are declaring in the JavaScript, they are by default private as well as reactive properties. So this is the way to declare a property, and this is the way to bind the property on the UI. So this is the fixed value. This is fixed value, like I have specified over here, Swati Arora. So every time when you preview this component, so it will always show you Swati Arora. Let me refresh. So this is my production org. I have pushed my component to production. So it is showing you Swati Arora only. But now what I want, that whatever value I'm entering in my text box, as soon as I will change the value in text box, that value should be reflected in the UI. So for that, we have to raise the event, because as soon as I will change the value in the text box, what I want, that value should be reflected in the UI. So I have to fire event on the text box. So you know that we have lots of JavaScript events. If you want to explore more on the events part, you can go and you can visit w3schools.com. So you want to make your property interactive. You don't want to fix a particular value in your property. So in that case, I'm using text box. This is the first scenario. I'm taking text box. Whenever I will change the value in text box, that value will be reflected over here. So for that, what we have to do, we have to fire event on my text box. This is my text box, and the event name is on change. So whenever you change value in the text box, what action you want to fire, that action I am writing functionality for this in JS. So name of the function is name handler. So whatever function you will write over here, so don't go with this line right now. Name handler, this is function name. So if you have written any function in JS, and if you want to invoke that function on your HTML, again the binding expression will be curly braces only and function name. So as soon as text value will change, we are going to call this name handler function. So now what I want to do, I want to set value, what I'm changing in text box, I want to set that value in the property welcome name. So there are lots of ways to access the value of the text box or any input field. To access value of any input field, there are three ways. First is, we can use utility event.target. Second is, we can use this dot template dot query selector, and we can go for the element whose value I want to see. Suppose I want to capture the value of text box. So I can give here lightning hyphen input. So this is again a way. Third way is this dot template dot query selector all. Lightning hyphen input. So it will query only first element in template. Suppose there are multiple text boxes, but this dot template dot query selector will only query first text box in your template. But if you want to query all the text boxes from your template, then you will go with query selector all. Query all all input boxes in template, input text boxes. You have to specify which text box you want to query. Now, where you will use which way, that I am going to discuss with you. So event.target you can only use when you are writing handler on the input box. Right now, if you see, I am adding event on the text box. So if you are adding event on the input box itself, so in this case, what you can do, you can go to name handler, and this name handler function will receive a parameter. This is predefined event parameter. So now whenever you want to access any property inside JS function, how you will access? With the help of this keyword, this dot name of your property, welcome name, and event dot target dot value. This is the first way. So event dot target means the element, the component from where event is fired, and you are capturing the value of that element. So you can use this event dot target dot value thing only when you are writing the event handler on the input component. So you are directly adding the functionality on the text box. That means whenever text box value will change, you are setting the value of that target component in a property welcome name. And whenever you want to access any property inside a function, you will use this keyword. So this is the first scenario. So you can use event.target.value only when you are writing the event handler on the input box itself. But it is not required always. So there is some problem in my Visual Studio. I will reload it again. Extensions are not getting installed. So this is the first way. The first scenario, when you will go with event.target, when you have a handler, or you can say whenever you have a event handler on the input box itself, then only you can capture the value of the text box. So let me push this component to to production org. So this is the command, deploy source to org. So whatever changes I have done, those will be reflected in my UI. Let's refresh. So right now it's coming Swati Arora, and now I'm changing value. On change and name handler. Right now I will comment this line also because I am not displaying object type properties to you. So this is the way to do comments. This is the way to give comments in LWC. You can preview your component locally also. So right click and we can preview our component locally also. If your local development server is working perfectly, and you have to install local development server on your system in order to preview your component locally. So there is no need to push your component every time to production, or we can preview our component locally also. Right now, there is some issue with my local development server. No problem. So let me refresh my page and let me add my component. So I'm editing a home page. If you want to see this, I will go back and I will show you. So this is the home page. I have exposed my component to the home page. If you want to edit any component on the home page, just go over here and click on edit page, and you can add your components on the home pages, but those components should be exposed to home pages. So data binding example, save. See, I'm changing the value in text box, and that value is reflected over here. So I am adding the event handler on my text box. As soon as value will be changed in the text box, with the help of event.target.value, you are capturing that value and you are holding that value in a property, the property which you have binded on the UI. But suppose there is a scenario that you don't want to see value on the change of the text box. you want to keep the value, but you want to see the value on button click. So in that case, I cannot add event handler on the text box because I don't want to see the value on the button, on the text box change. I want to see value on the button click. So if you want to access the value of your input components, not on the event firing on the input component, on the click of any button or any other event, for that we can go with this dot template dot query selector. And right now there is only one text box, so there is no need to use query selector all. So if you see, I have used a button over here, show name, and I am removing this event handler from here. I don't want to have event handler on my button on my text box on change. I want that I am putting the value in text box, but I want to bind the value in the property on the click of the button. So for that, what I have done, I have written a functionality on button click, and the function name is show name. And if you see over here, show name, so again we are accessing the property with the help of this keyword, and this is the way I am querying the text box. This dot template, this dot template means the current template. From the current template, query the element whose name is lightning hyphen input, and what you have to capture, you have to capture the value of that text box. So so right now I'm capturing the value of text box, but not on the change of text box. I want to capture the value of, you can say, text box, but on the click of the button. So in those type of scenarios, you have to go with this. So I have to bind my component again. I have to go to edit page and just save it once. Sometimes there is no need to save your component again going to lightning page, but if there is if your cache is not getting cleared, or if there is some internet lag, so in that case you have to put the date like you have to push your component again on the lightning page in order to see the changes. Now if you see, I'm changing the value in text box, but I don't want to bind value on change. I want to bind value on the click of button. So see, so in this type of scenarios, you can query the value of your text boxes with the help of this dot template dot query selector, and you can capture the value of this text box and you can showcase that value on the UI. So that is the second utility, this dot template dot query selector. But suppose if there are multiple text boxes, so before going to that, I should explain this event to you. So this event is very important parameter. This event will help you to access lots of utilities from the component which is firing the event. You can capture the value of that component. If that component is checkbox, you can check that whether that component is checked or unchecked. You can also capture the label of the components, right? So there are lots of utility of event.target.value. If you want to explore on this, just you can go and you can visit developer forum. So I will share this link on the chat window also. So this is, you can go and you can search for lightning hyphen input, and you can see what other utilities event.target can give you. So lightning hyphen input. So there are lots of input boxes, just you have to change the types. So for every input box they have given in documentation. So there are lots of input boxes. See, checkbox, date, date time, email, button. And if you go down, so if you want to capture the value of a text box, and for that I have told you there are three ways. So first way is event.target. So event.target is very important. Event handling. So maybe in specifications I will find it. In specifications I will find it. Or somewhere here only I'm missing that documentation with an example. So you will find over here event.target. So lots of input boxes are there, and if you want to showcase the value of your text boxes, you will again go with properties. So here you will find event handling. I think it is not mentioned in this documentation. No problem. I will share that link later on, or maybe before ending this session. Yes. So we have lots of utilities of event.target. So let me show you one more example. This is calculator component. And if you see in this calculator component, what I am doing, I have used two text boxes. So to capture the value of these text boxes, if I can go with that event.target also, but I have to write two handlers. One will work on this text box and one will work on this text box. So that I'm not doing, and I'm taking four buttons, plus, minus, and all that. And if you see, I'm using only single function on click of every button, plus, minus, multiply, divide. I'm using single function, do operation. So now if you go back to your JS code, and if you see in code, I have declared four properties: result, num1, num2, and choice. So result will showcase you the output of your calculations. So if you see in do operation function, now in do operation function also I'm passing event parameter. Why I'm passing event parameter? Because I want to check the labels of the button. According to that, I have to perform that logic. So first step in this function, what I'm doing, I'm querying for all the text boxes. So there are two text boxes. I'm querying for both the text boxes, and I know that two text boxes will return. So what I'm doing, I am iterating on those text boxes with the help of for each loop. So if you want to explore this for each loop, sorry, again you can go to w3schools.com, and there you can check the syntax of for each loop in JS. So this for each loop will receive function type parameter, and this element will basically refer to the elements in the collection. So there are two elements in the collection as for now. So this is like a local variable which is working on that collection, and what it is checking, it is checking the name. So if you see the first in my first text box I have given name txt1, and in my second text box I have given name txt2. So in LWC, we never go with IDs. If someone has done JavaScript, they must know that there is a concept of ID. And in JavaScript, we have a function document.get element by ID. But in LWC, Salesforce do not recommend giving IDs to the components. So we are accessing this element with the help of name. So in first, when it will start iteration, so we are checking for the name. If the name is txt1, we are capturing the value of that text box and we are storing it in a property num1. And if the element name is txt2, again we are capturing the value of that text box and we are storing it in a property num2. And this is again a sort of callback. So this is a syntax of for each loop. But yes, we are iterating on all the text boxes which are there in our template, and we are checking one by one the name of the text boxes. If the name is txt1, we are capturing the value of that text box and we are storing it in a property num1. And if the name of the text box is txt2, we are capturing the value of that text box and we are storing it in num2. So this is the first step we are doing on the button click. So as soon as button will click, we are querying all the text boxes, we are iterating on the text boxes, and accordingly we are storing the value of the text boxes in those respective properties. Now next, event.target.label. So from where event is triggered from button. So as soon as event is triggered from the button, we are querying for the label, event.target.label. So if the label is plus, what we are going to do? We are going to do addition. If label is subtraction, we are going to do subtraction, and so on. And after calculation, we are storing the data in a property result so that we can showcase that data in our UI result. So what I'm trying to say that even dot target always not give you value. It will give you label, it can give you name, it can give you value, it can give you checked if you want to check whether your checkbox is checked or not. So this event dot target will only come into scenario when you want to access any value related to that component who's firing the event. So in this case, button is firing the event. So from on button we cannot capture value. We can capture label, we can capture name. So accordingly, as per the input components, you can use this event dot target. So if you want to see the output, let me try to load my local development server again. It is showing me error that I will resolve again later on. But yes, now I want to add my calculator component on this page. So again, I will edit my home page, and I will add calculator component. Calculator component is not coming over here. So for that, first of all, I have to push my component to uh, your production or. So for pushing it to production or, first of all, what we have to do, we have to go to metadata file. We have to set is exposed true. Then only my component will be exposed in the orgs. And secondly, I will set targets, and in target I'm setting this component should be exposed to lightning __ home page. So this component will be accessible only on lightning home page of that particular org. So I have to deploy my source to org. So just refresh my home page. So see, if you see, calculator component is coming over here. I am removing this component. I am removing this component also. And I am placing my calculator component over here. Saving the home page. Go back. So this is calculator now. 12, 23. Now as soon as I will click on button, name that event handler will fire, it will query all the text boxes value, store in respective properties, and it will check the label. If label is plus, it will perform addition. If label is negative, it will perform subtraction. If it is multiplication, and if it is division. So there are lots of utilities of event dot target. So in this case, we are capturing label. In this case, we were capturing the value. Even we are capturing the name of the text boxes also. So this is one more scenario. So I have explained you when you will go with event dot target, when you will go with query selector, and when you will go with query selector all. So this is sort of primitive property. But if you see here, we have object type property also. Object type property means value of key, like combination of key and value. So here this is object, JavaScript object, and it is holding value in key value format. So name is a key, EMP ID is again a key. So if this sort of properties are there, how you will bind these properties on the UI? So how you will bind? So suppose we have a object type property employee details, and this is the key name. So name is suppose Swati. Second, we have employee ID, and in employee ID I am giving something like colon 17636, something like this. So now how you will bind? Name of your object type property dot key. So this is the way to bind this property on the UI in flower braces. In flower braces. So if you see on HTML, so how I have binded these properties. employee details dot name and employee details dot emp id. So this is the way to bind your object type properties on the UI. Primitive will be simple, and object type properties, name of the property dot key name of the property dot key name. So that's about data binding, how to bind a simple property, how to bind object type property. For array and all that, you will see in other sessions. You need iterations. Whenever array type values are there, you need iterations. You have to iterate. Otherwise, you cannot bind values directly. And you cannot use compound expressions in LWC. Compound expressions in the sense, you cannot write like this. You cannot write like this. This is compound expression. No, this is not supported in LWC. Compound expression. These are called compound expressions. So compound expressions are not supported in LWC. Not supported in LWC. Whenever you have to bind, you have to bind with dot key name. So these are the ways to bind. Capture the value of the input elements, and after capturing, bind those values in your properties to make your property interactive or dynamic. So that is all about data binding. So next topic for today's session is conditional rendering. So conditional rendering, you know that if I talk about programming languages, we have if else. Whenever we want to perform something conditionally, we go with conditional statements, if else, switch, lots of conditionals, like lots of examples you have done in your programming languages. But what about if you have to display something conditionally on the UI? We want to display something conditionally on UI. So for that, we will go with conditional rendering in LWC. So how to do that? We have like, suppose I want to execute this diff conditionally. So we have if true, and here you will give property, any property you will bind over here, Boolean type property, because you know, in if else also we have Boolean type properties. So if true, so this diff will only execute when this property will render true value to if true. And one more is there, if false. So if false will execute, so this diff will only execute when this property, which whatever property you are binding over here, that is rendering false value to this diff. So let me show you. I'm closing all these windows. So conditional rendering. So if you see here, I have nested one template, and here I have used if colon true and show text. So if this show text property will render true, then this lightning card inside this template will render. Otherwise, by default, this lightning card will be not by default it will not be visible. And if show text property will render false, then what will happen? This you can say text will appear. Click on button to enter details. So by default, this button will also appear. And if you see in our JS, what we have done, we have taken one Boolean type property, show text, and by default, what we are doing, we are setting false. So if we are setting false, that means this section will execute. Else portion will execute. With the data, click on button to enter details. So as soon as you will click on the button, this view data function will call. And what this function is doing, this is setting true in this property. So if you see output of this component, I think I have to push this component on in my org. This is also not available. So let me, oh, sorry. So let me push this component again to my production auth. So just on the click of button, what we are doing, we are setting the value true in this boolean type property. So as soon as soon as this value is true, so that section will be available, which is inside if true. So let me, before pushing the component on the scratch, or first of all, you have to check the configuration file of that component. If that component is not exposed to your OR, then that will not be visible in your end on. Okay. So in your production org. So you have to set is exposed true, and I'm setting target again to home page. So deploy. And let me refresh home page. So conditional rendering component, I'm removing here and I'm adding conditional rendering component. So if you see in output, right now that lightning card is not coming. Lightning card is like a placeholder. Okay. So as soon as I will click on button, this data will disappear because this is placed inside the else block, and lightning card will appear. See. So what I have done, I have placed this lightning card inside if block. Inside if block. So this section will only execute when show text will return you true, and this section will only execute when show text will return you false. So this is sort of conditional rendering. So whenever you want to render something on UI conditionally, you can go with if true or if false. So if true is behaving as a if, so that block will only execute when the property returning you true value, and if false block will execute when property will return you false value. And you can say practical example of this is something like this. So we have permanent address and we have current address. So there are some values in the text box. As soon as you will check this checkbox, these particular details will be copied in the current address. So the data will come, but it will come conditionally, or rather you can say on the check of this checkbox. So in these type of scenarios, you can go with conditional sort of rendering or conditional sort of execution. So that's all from my side.
Thank you so much, Swati, for such a wonderful session. We have few questions for you. Let me
Yes,
read out to you. Uh, when there are multiple tags, if I want to have a specific tag, how to write it with this template.query selector?
Nesting sort of thing you can do. We can place multiple component multiple templates inside. Like we can create outer template and we can add if true over there. If that value is true, then you can nest one more template inside. This nesting sort of thing you can do. But here and or is not supported. Like in Aura and or functions are supported, but in LWC we don't have and or functions to manipulate multiple properties. But if you want to check multiple properties, in that case you have to go with nesting. You can nest one template inside another.
If we define name handler function as arrow function, then how can we use this?
So arrow functions are like for arrow functions there is no as such handler support given by LWC as such. Arrow function you can only use when you want to call one JS function inside another. If you're writing multiple functions and if you want to invoke one function inside another function, so you can write functionality in arrow function and you can invoke that function in the function who is called by handler function handler. Like on click, if you are calling any handler function, so what you can do, you can write the functionality of that function inside arrow function and you can invoke that arrow function inside that handler function. But directly you cannot invoke arrow function on the events itself.
Okay. Can I add API property be modified when it is exposed to other components?
For exposing part, it's not like that any component can access this property. there is a sort of communication sort of thing. This API properties will only receive values from the parent component. That means if you want that any component should pass value in this property, so in that case you have to call this component, like this particular the particular component inside another component. Then only the component in which you are calling this component can pass value to this API property. It's not open for everyone.
The next question is, when can we use LDS?
LDS is used when you want to like perform DML operations, or when you want to work with Salesforce objects without writing Apex codes. So LDS is similar. If you are done with Visualforce, you must know standard controller. So LDS is similar to standard controller, in which there is no need to write codes, Apex code. You can work on a single record. You can insert, update, and view single record at a time, or delete also. But in LWC, deletion is not supported. But in Aura, if you use LDS, deletion is supported. But in LWC, deletion is not supported in LDS.
Okay. Thank you so much, Swati, again for the wonderful session and clearing all the doubts.